Welcome to our house, the House of Fi. At the House of Fi, we are all about achieving financial independence for families. Wherever you are in your financial independence journey, we want our house to be a place where you can learn and get inspired. If you are a parent on the journey to Fi, then come on in. We're glad that you're here. Here are your hosts, Wendy and Tamika.
Welcome to another special FinCon Friday episode. Back in September at FinCon, Dustin Heiner was kind enough to sit down with me and chat for a bit. Dustin is a successful real estate investor, business coach, and podcaster. At 37, Dustin used his real estate investing business and rental property strategies to quit his job to be a more present dad to his kids. With passive income and monthly cash flow, Dustin is now successfully unemployed and is financially independent, having enough money, time, and control to do whatever he wants. The system Dustin has created allows him to travel the world, take a 6-week vacation in Japan, a 6-week vacation all throughout Europe, road trips around the United States, and doing whatever he wants and only works 2 hours a month. Dustin's passion is teaching others how he has built his real estate business so they can learn to become financially independent with passive income just like him. I loved this episode. As a reminder, this was a live recording among a few thousand others attending FinCon, so please forgive some of the background noise. It's still a great show. Welcome, House of Fi family. We're again here live at FinCon. We have today Dustin Heiner of masterpassiveincome.com. He's a real estate investor and also does coaching, and we're really excited to talk to him today. Hi, Dustin.
Hi, Wendy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited to talk to you. Thank you for being on the show. Well, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Fresno, California, which is in the dead center of California. So north, south, east, west. It's very, very center. Grew up there. I met my wife on eHarmony, and this was like 12 years ago. So praise the Lord, we've been married for 12 years, and we have 4 great kids now. But we've since have moved to Phoenix because my parents have passed away, and so we wanted to be closer to her parents. Moved over to Phoenix. So now we've been living there for about 1.5 years now, and really, really enjoy being close to her family. Lots of great things about our family being close. It's just, I wanted my kids to grow up with their grandparents, basically. And so with that, I was able, or because I was able to not have a job because of my real estate investing, I was able to just up and move into one of my rental properties, moved in the rental property, and now we're living in Phoenix, which is going great. But it was actually right when I got married. What was rather interesting is when we got married, I had talked to my fiance at the time. I want to get into investing. I want to invest in something. I want to do something to where I didn't have to work a job. That was my big goal, is not working a job. I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
And so as I was talking to my wife, we got married, and then we got some money from like the wedding, and a little bit of savings. And so I took $17,000, like all of our entire money right after we got married. And I said, hey, I want to buy a rental property. And her parents are a retired teacher, and her mom's a stay-at-home mom, very super low risk or no risk. They don't want any risk at all. Risk averse. Absolutely. And my wife grew up with that, which, praise the Lord, I'm really glad, because she asks me, hey, can I spend $2 on this thing? I'm like, absolutely. She's that frugal, which is great for me. But anyways, bought the first property. I think it was like in 2007, right before the market crashed. Bought the property. Anyways, I've been building my business ever since then. And now I'm 30 plus properties. I kind of lose count. I buy and sell. So we have so much income coming in, passive income coming in every single month, that I'm able to up and move my family. We go on 6-week vacations. Like 2 years ago in 2017, we went to Japan for 6 weeks. Traveled with my 4 kids, my wife, and my dad. I'm half Japanese. My dad's Japanese, so we went all around, saw his hometown and all that sort of stuff. And then this year we went to Europe for 6 weeks as well. Traveled through 11 different countries, and I took all my 4 kids as well, and it was a blast. But being blessed to be able to do all these great things and not have a job is just amazing.
Right. So, gosh, so much there to unpack. So you started with the one property, and about how long ago was that?
That was in 2007, 2008. So it was right before the market crashed. I remember putting $17,000 down, buying a house, and then trying to refinance and pull the money out. When I did that refinance, it was right. I got the money to refinance, pull the money out from the bank and to buy more properties. And right after I got the money, it was like maybe like a week later or 2 weeks later, the market crashed and then all the loans dried up. But so we bought one property and then tried each year to buy one more, if not two more. And within 6 or 7 years, I had enough money to replace my income, but I was still very cautious and getting away from your paycheck is a scary thing because it's a steady income. Yeah. And especially having a business that has up and down with, people moving out, things like that, repairs. So at 6 years, I had enough money coming in to replace my job. And then at year 9 is when I decided to finally quit. I built up my business big enough to where it continually builds itself. I have money coming in that I can invest more. And so it just keeps growing.
So the strategy was, it started with one goal to buy one or two more each year.
Each year, yeah.
What sort of parameters do you look at for what makes a good property? Why would you buy a certain property?
That's a great question. For me, it's all about the return on my money in cash flow. I love having cash flow. Now, you could put $1 million down and make $400 a month, which is not a good investment. I'd rather put down like $10,000 and get $300 or $400 a month. So it's a much better return on my investment. So I invest in cash flow. So that's every single month. Check comes in from my property managers. And here's another reason why I'm able to do 6 weeks traveling is because I have property managers do all the work. Contractors, realtors, all of them are doing the work while I just verify what they're doing, which is an hour a month at most. That's what I work. But so what I decided to do was continue to buy another property. But it was basically having a goal of quitting my job, not knowing exactly when I was going to get there, but focusing on that and day after day, just sacrificing, little sacrifice here and there. So we would, our 1 year of, for like 6 or 7 years, our one vacation was driving from Fresno to Phoenix where my in-laws were for Christmas. That was our vacation because we would not do anything because all that money, we realized, man, we could save that and buy another rental property and keep rolling that over and over again.
When you're buying the properties, are you using like the 1% rule or 2% rule?
That's a great question. So the 1% rule is the baseline. If I like using Zillow.com, and on my website I have videos showing how I find properties, how I calculate the passive income and the return and all that sort of stuff. But the 1% rule is a great way to start. So if I'm looking at a property and I can see within the purchase price, really quickly, if the purchase price is $100,000, if I can't rent it for at least $1,000, I don't buy it. Or I wouldn't say I don't buy it. I don't take the time to invest further calculating, further investing in my time into that property to see if I would want to buy it. So I would make sure that it's at least 1% of the purchase price per month. So it has to rent for $1,000 every single month for me to say, okay, now it's worth my time to look further into this property, really run the numbers, really to see how much taxes are, how much insurance is going to be, really figure out if it's a good deal. Right. But what I really try to strive for is a minimum of $250 per property of cash flow coming in my pocket every single month. If I don't find a property, or if I find a property, it's a decent property, because I only buy for passive income, and I look at my homes as inventory. So I don't look at it as, well, this is someplace that I'm going to live in eventually. Right. No, it's inventory. So if it needs to be fixed up, it needs to be fixed up. And I just, it's a cost of doing business. But all that to say, $250 is what I want coming in my pocket every single month. So I have 30 plus properties, so you can just do the math on that. So it works out well.
When you say $250, are you already taking off the, the fee for is it your net cash flow?
Absolutely net. Okay. Yeah. After property management fees, after maintenance, after holding aside some for capital expenses that, a repair or, I set aside that to basically every bit of expenses. I try to make sure I at least make $250 before I buy the property. Like on paper, it looks like I'm going to make a minimum of $250. And the big reason why, people might say that's really hard to do. It's really hard to find properties. And I completely agree. It's not easy, but it's possible. And the reason why it's possible is you really just got to be looking at many, many properties, as well as negotiate, get the price down lower. Like, don't pay top dollar.
Right.
I never paid top dollar. I was trying to get deals on properties.
What market do you focus on?
I mean, area of the country. So I started buying in Ohio when I was living in California. So I bought right when the market was at the highest, and I was able to find properties in Ohio that were really, really inexpensive compared to California.
Right.
So I started buying there. Then I started buying in Texas and Arizona. So those are the 3 states that I'm in now.
And so you're realtors, so you basically have a team.
Absolutely.
I would imagine in each state. So your realtors, are they kind of like bird dogging for you? Are they out there and like, hey, I found this property. It's got, it rents for this. This is the price. I think it's a good prospect.
Absolutely. And I use more than just realtors. I'll use either, also other investors or for sale by owners or wholesalers. I absolutely love wholesalers working with. So wholesalers are basically realtors without a license, and they work extra hard to find the buyer and find the seller and match them up. But I just buy properties. Since I've been an investor for so long, a lot of people know me as an investor in the certain areas that I'm in. And so deals come to me now because I buy them from them and they benefit because they make money on them. But every bit of my business is automated. I don't do anything other than verify the statement that comes in, matches up, all the receipts and my check that I get every single month, or it's a direct deposit now, make sure that adds up. But other than that, I don't really do anything.
Do you plan to add more properties like indefinitely?
Absolutely. The biggest thing, there's 2 great things that in my mind right now. One is cash flow every single month coming in my pocket. So that is able to have my wife stay home, and she homeschools. She does a great job homeschooling. And I'm able to stay home and I'm able to be there with her and help her and everything. So that's one great thing is the cash flow. Another huge benefit is the wealth creation that I can pass down to my kids and my grandkids. And so I have these properties that I literally don't have to get rid of because they make me money every single month. And the longer I own them, the more money I make because rents go up, mortgages go down, and eventually I could pass them on to my kids and they'll have that income. And plus, not to mention just me passing my business down, I'm even going to help them buy their own properties. Like what's great is my oldest daughter, she's 10 now. She's been saving all her life. Like every time she gets any money from, birthday parties or birthdays or anything, we put away. So 10% goes to tithing for God. 20% goes to the family because we have to pay for food, electricity. I want them to learn that. 20% goes to them to do whatever they want, but 50% of the total goes into savings. So they've been saving 50% their whole life. So I want them to know that when they get older, 50% save. And she was counting her money. I can't remember how she had $400 or $500, which is a lot for a 10-year-old. Right? Yeah, she's really happy.
I don't ever remember $400, $500.
And she says, "You know what, Dad or Daddy, I want to buy a house so that I make money from that property." And I'm like, "Atta girl."
It's working.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the question I forgot to ask is, when you're buying these properties, are you buying them with loans? So you're using loans.
So yes and no. As I basically try to get as many properties as I can, either with notes or refinancing a property, or I even borrowed money from a credit card. So back in 2008, right before the market crashed, I got a credit card statement, not a statement, but like an offer. It was for the life of the balance of like $14,000, I could borrow the interest rate was only like 0.03. So it was like dirt cheap. I said, absolutely. So I cashed all that out and I bought a property with that, and that made me money. Right. But so I use any means, like even borrowed from my dad. I was like, "Hey, Dad, I had this great investment." But since then, actually the biggest way that I built my business was rolling the money or recycling it over again. So the first $17,000 I used to buy that first property, I refinanced it, pulled all that money back out, and then bought another property, fixed it up, got it rented, and then refinanced that property, pull all that money. And I've done that over and over and over and over again. I teach all my students how to do this because it's actually, once you do it once or twice, you're like, man, this is so amazing. And so the money just keeps being recycled. And so now I have enough cash flow coming in that my wife and I have been blessed to be able to pay off a lot of our loans. So out of the 30 plus properties, I think we only have maybe 4 or 5 mortgages out of all of them. So the rest are just cash flow.
So it's the full rent that's coming to you now, which is, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So if somebody wants, they want to, but they're not sure, what what's maybe the first step for them to do
in investing in real estate?
Right.
The first thing, when all my students that I coach, the biggest thing that I try to help them to do is look at, financially, where are you right now? Like you can go out and get a mortgage and just buy a property, that you can absolutely do that. But let's look at cutting debt, getting rid of your debt, because if you're paying interest for consumer debt, you're just throwing away money. That just is hurting you. It's stopping you. So I teach my students how to get out of debt, number one. Number two, start saving money so that you can buy a property. And number three, looking for properties and finding one. So a lot of students who don't have money to start, like they don't have like $30,000 to put down on a down payment of 20% of the purchase price, I teach them how you can actually buy an investment property with an FHA loan. It's a Federal Housing Administration loan. I coach that you could effectively buy a fourplex, 4 units in one property, or a duplex where there's 2, with an FHA loan, and you'll automatically have a tenant next door to you. Obviously, I don't want to live next door to somebody. Well, it's only a year. Yeah. You live there a year. That's the timeline for an FHA loan. Move out, and then you have 2 properties if you have a duplex, 4 if you have a fourplex. So there's so many easy. I won't say easy. Unless you actually know and you've been through it, it seems hard to get investing, but it's actually simple. It's just having somebody that's going to be able to walk you through. Hey, you're at this point. I could just 2 days ago, I had a conference or a coaching call with one of my students that was on learning everything about her and her husband and their position. And I said, okay, this is where you're at. This is the way you can start growing. And this is how I can see you taking off and have a successful business.
So how are you able to take the 6-week vacation?
So I'm really blessed with a great wife. She does a lot of work. She's very meticulous in planning. She obviously loves our kids, is really good at making sure that they're all wrangled and, we're getting on airplanes. Like when we went through Europe, we went through 11 different countries. And I think we even went to Israel. So England, Scotland, Ireland, Israel, Austria, Switzerland, France, Germany, Belgium. So we traveled all over, and we're flying everywhere, driving everywhere. It really comes down to, I think what really helped with my kids was we would have to drive 10 hours every single year to see the in-laws and drive back.
So they're used to being in the car.
Yeah.
Driving.
The first like 3 years of driving, it was horrible. Like they were crying but after 5-6 years, they got used to it, and now we just do it. And now, when we take a 4-hour drive someplace, like, oh, it's no big deal. Right. You're used to driving 10 hours or traveling. But, logistically, it's really just focusing on the next step. Like, where are we going next? What are we doing next? That's my job.
Checking off the box.
Yeah. My wife is great at planning from beginning to end, all the things we should be doing. Hey, at this time, and we got to be doing this and that. And so she's great at doing that. I'm the one that helps us to get to the next step. But but being able to travel for 6 weeks because I don't have a job is one of the most amazing things to be able to do. Now, I will say, after about the 4th, maybe the 5th week, I started thinking, man, I'm getting tired. Right. I've seen so many castles now that it's like, just drive by. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. So we're getting near the end of our time, and so we have a couple closeout questions that we ask everybody. And the first question is, what is one money lesson that you learned as a kid, good or bad, that has carried over into your adult life?
So a bad one I could easily say is my parents, they gave gifts. They're really good at giving gifts. They felt love when they gave and received gifts. And so it's good and bad, because I love giving. I love being able to give, but at the same time, I didn't realize how much money I spent. And so I wasn't in debt when I got married, but I didn't have a savings. Like I was just living paycheck to paycheck. And so that was a bad thing. Now that's something that I've taken and realized that I don't want my kids to even have come close to that. That's why they're saving 50% of every bit of money. Plus, they know that 20% automatically goes to the family to pay for electricity and housing and all that sort of stuff, and tithing to God, and then 20% goes to them to do with whatever they want. So that's, I translated from me, like my wife, she like I said, she's very frugal, which I'm very blessed to have her that frugal, that she would have to rein me in. Like, hey, I want to go buy this. We don't have the money for that. This was back, before we had properties and everything. But so that was a big lesson that I learned.
And so this one you might have already answered, but we'll see. So the second question is very similar. what is one money lesson that you want to convey to your children to carry over?
So the savings is one big one, but even bigger than that is I'm a big believer that people nowadays don't need to go to college. I think college is so expensive. Like I don't understand people can get $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 or more in debt. Yeah, it's so expensive that you can, if you just go learn a trade, or if you do what I do, like here, so I have a course, an online course that I teach people how to invest in real estate from beginning to end. So no money, no properties, no knowledge, no nothing. To the very end, you get your first property and then build from there. And I sell it for $2,000. Somebody could literally never go to college and take my course and never work a job.
Right.
I look now and I realize, man, if I would have taken this course, applied it, I wouldn't have had to go to college.
Right.
And so my kids, I'm teaching not necessarily don't go to college, which if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you have something that you really need this learning, I completely agree and understand that. But if you're going to be a teacher, if you're going to be something that's not like it takes years and years of extreme knowledge, or if you just want to provide for your family, just get a normal job, save up your money, buy a property. Then next year or the year after, buy a property again. Just keep duplicating it over and over and recycling your money. And in 10 years, you won't need to work because you have enough money coming in. So I want to teach them passive income.
Right.
That passive income is the best way to make money.
Right. And what is the best way for people to get in touch with you? Maybe they're curious about your courses. How do they get you?
Oh, thank you. So I have my website, masterpassiveincome.com, like you mentioned earlier. I also have a podcast, Master Passive Income Podcast.
Okay.
I talk all about real estate and investing in rental properties, teaching people that you can quit your job, that there are ways to do that. And so if you want to reach out to me, go to my website, masterpassiveincome.com. You can also send me an email, dustin@masterpassiveincome.com. Super simple. But I really appreciate the time. It was really good.
Well, thank you so much. So much to unpack. I can't wait to actually go back and listen to this one a couple times. Thanks, Dustin.
Absolutely.
Well, House of Five family, that brings this episode to a close. If you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe in iTunes, as well as any of the other platforms you've found us on. We're on just about all of them. Also, please leave us a written review. They help us to know what you're liking about the show, what we can do better. And for every 5 reviews we receive, that's written reviews, we will give away one of our favorite reads, and that is currently Kids' Money Habits by Amy Coit. It's a great book full of great information, both for parents and kids. Don't forget to check out our show notes on the webpage. There is always bonus information there that didn't make it to the show, and we strive to create good content on there. So please head on over to the website and check that out. Finally, you can find us on Facebook. You can either like our page or you can become part of our Facebook group. It's a private group, and in there we have ongoing discussions about each episode as well as other topics within the FI community. It's a way for us to get to know each other better and for Tamika and I to learn exactly what you want to hear more of or questions that you have that we can address with upcoming guests. Again, thank you for listening. Come back next week. We're glad you're here.